Hi there, Old and Surly here. Today we're taking a look at a Rebrickable MOC by a creator that goes by the name of BrickmanStudio. Now he has a wide variety of designs on his page, and I encourage you to check them out, especially if they're as detailed as the one we see here. This, of course, is the Vulture Droid from the prequel movies. It contains 305 pieces, and it has a number of details on it that I particularly like because it allows you to display it not only in the fighter mode that you see here, but to actually have some points of articulation within the wings and the head to allow you to display this in one of those walking modes like you do see in the actual movie. So you could make a very detailed MOC if you were to build several of these. Overall, this is a fun build. Takes roughly an hour to an hour and a half in my case, mainly because this is a challenging build in that it uses a number of design building functions that are a little bit above and beyond your basic Lego expectations. So if you're to build this, you need to take your time, follow the instructions closely, and have patience, because this thing will come apart repeatedly as you're assembling pieces to get it into its final configuration. And it can be a little bit temperamental as you're trying to move pieces around, especially if you're trying to do like we mentioned and trying to maybe stand this up into some of the different modes. It does have ball joints and hinges to allow you to elevate and move the droid head, as well as having both of the wings, upper and lower, have a ball and socket joint to allow you to separate and actually move these wings around and get some nice articulation and display capabilities. Now, this particular color scheme is not the only scheme that it comes in. It does come in more of the blue and gray. And in this case, where you see these darker browns, that is not actually what is on the parts list that he asks for. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention and I ordered the wrong color tan pieces. So I got a little bit of this dual tone mode, but I actually like it. I think that there were a number of different color schemes in my mind, depending on the different worlds they were on. So I could fully see this particular color scheme being used on one of the planets during the Clone Wars. So that gives you a little bit of customization as well. A few of the drawbacks, like I mentioned, it is a challenging build. It uses a number of dual-sided build. For example, right here in the center, you're building both to the left and to the right of several of the pieces. So these center sections are only connected by about 2 or 3 actual studs on both sides. So it is a bit delicate. It does use a cross member 1x8, I believe, piece to try to shore this up and kind of hold them together. But it is still a bit delicate. So you're going to have to treat this gently when you're picking it up and moving it around and expect it to come apart a little bit. And of course, because of that dual side build, there is a slight gap and a slight difference in the sides when you complete the left and right side of the head there. It's not really noticeable, and it's not a design flaw. It's just the nature of trying to build this kind of complex angular design using a two-sided stud build like he did. And again, I give him a lot of kudos for trying that. I would have never thought to try that in a million years, and he comes out very well. And again, just the sheer detail that he was able to put on this and still make it a displayable piece. It doesn't have any type of flick missiles or anything like that, so there isn't a lot of playability. And honestly, I would be very cautious in probably giving this to a young fan of Lego, only because I think this is more of a true display piece for a MOC or for a shelf than it is for actual play, because it will come apart pretty easily if you're not careful. But again, I think the detail and ability to make this into several different modes and have it in walking modes and things like this more than make up for that when it's all said and done. I would highly encourage somebody to take a look at this. Now we're going to take a quick break, and I'm actually going to try to display this in one of those standing modes that I mentioned so you can see the front and back of it. So here we have the Vulture Droid in one of its walking modes, or in its more mobile mode that you see actually in the movie, which I think is a really nice way to display this as well, especially if you happen to be doing a separatist MOC and you wanted to show a few of these inside of a hangar bay. I think it would look really neat to have a couple of these moving around in the background and a couple of them in their standard fighter mode configuration. As you can see, both of the wings do separate into top and bottom sections, and they are both mobile thanks to those ball and socket connections that they have. So that is a nice feature of this. And here's another good way to see the bottom of this a little better. You can see that there is an attempt to use a cross member to kind of give this a little more strength, just due to the delicacy of this particular build, since you're building on both sides of the bricks. But you can see there's a lot of nice points of articulation within it. I think that this displays very well. The head does lift up, as you can see. It's also on its own pivot point, and it can be moved to the left and to the right, up and down as you see fit. So you could really make a very nice mock diorama using several of these in the display. So in conclusion, I have to say, while this is a challenging build, I think it's well worth the price. He's only charging about $4 to $5 for this on its own, and he does have several bundle packs available, both for the Clone Wars as well as for several of his TIE Fighter MOCs that make this an even better deal. For example, this comes with the bomber and one, I believe it's a crab droid, for only $10. And I think those would be probably as challenging as these, but would be well worth the effort, because if the detail and attention to the small bits and pieces and articulation are there like he has on here, I think it would be a very exciting build, if nothing else, and would look great in a mocker display. So again, if you have any questions, I will provide a link to his Rebrickable page. I highly encourage you to check him out and support his great designs and efforts. I'd be happy to share any additional photos. If you have questions, if you're trying to build it and maybe running into a little bit of difficulty, please feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to try to at least teach you what I did wrong, so maybe you can avoid those same problems. Again, this is Old and Surly. Thanks for watching, and have a great day and keep building.